Am I the only one that still remembers when the only way to get privacy on the phone meant going around the corner and whispering like you was in witness protection? Allow me to explain. Oh yeah, if you just tuning in, I'm your host, Sal G. And tonight, hold on, I gotta take this. Yo, it's Sal G, you hot? Nah, fool, I ain't on the sitcom set. I'm back at the desk. Alright, I'll buzz you later when I'm done. Alright, 1. That right there, that was basically how phone calls went back in the 90s. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, so tonight, we dialing back through how technology changed. Well, to put it plainly, the telephone as a whole. And no, I'm not gonna bother going back to rotary phones and beyond because, come on y'all, I'm not that old. So now let's start where the real trauma began, the corded house phone. Before your iPhone headphones got tangled in your pocket, let me tell you, that spiral cord attached to the house phone was real hell. It would have you in the middle of the room, mid-conversation, doing pirouettes and failed attempts to untangle it. Alright, back to private conversations. I mean, pre-cordless house phones, you were literally leashed to the wall. So if you ain't want nobody to hear a conversation, you would literally have to check around the house to make sure the coast was clear. And don't let you try to call somebody that was already on the phone. Because back then, that was it. All you would get was a busy signal. That was until the cutting-edge technology known as call waiting came about. Not to mention, while mentioning, that was invented without coincidence by a black woman by the name of Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. You remember? That was anxiety, because mind you, you didn't know who was calling. So now, you gotta blindly decide, is the unknown caller on the other line more important than my current conversation? I never clicked over, so I guess we'll never know. That is until the answering machine with the little baby-sized tapes came along. Now, you ain't just leaving messages, you were performing live in one take. I'll never forget nervously asking my girlfriend out for a date for the first time by leaving a voicemail on the answering machine. I remember to this day how it went.
Hey, it's me, Sal. I wanted to know if you still wanted to go to the mall Friday after school and maybe go to the movies. But if you're busy, that's okay too. Okay, call me back at 292-133.
I mean, it was bad because the time ran out before I could complete the callback number. And now it's recorded forever, like evidence in court that could be played over and over. Ooh, how embarrassing. Then boom, the call ID attachment, which was also invented by Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. Now you could see who's calling, and suddenly you got options. Before call ID, you had to answer. After call ID, you became the judge and jury, screening every call for final approval. Unknown number? Denied. My older brother's girlfriend calling? Denied. A long-winded relative calling? Denied. And let me tell you, being one of the youngest in the house, I guess this was my only chance to have a little bit of power. But shortly thereafter, call ID got built into the cordless house phone. Now I was a free-range chicken. It could roam all through the house and even the front porch. And let's not forget, at this time, the internet used to run through the phone lines, and there was no sneaking online. It came with its own alert that sounded throughout the house. Also, that meant if somebody picked up the phone while you was online, that was it. No warning. Just you and your whole AOL session just ended, and you were booted offline. Sidebar. Dad, before you text me, I know we was a prodigy household and you hated AOL, so I never heard the "you got mail" at home, only on TV or at a friend's house. Moving on to the next cutting edge tech with the beeper or pager, depending on who you're talking to. Because we all knew there were only two types of people with pagers. Either you was a businessman in a suit or a businessman running an independent street pharmacist enterprise. No in between. You see someone with a pager, you don't ask questions. You just assume they was busy or they got inventory. And I'm not gonna lie, I had one too. Well, sorta. Mine was from the mall and couldn't nobody page me. It was a toy that only kept time. Essentially just a clock with confidence. While I'm here, I also gotta mention that Motorola two-way pager era. That was basically texting before texting. I mean, it was a foreshadowing of where we are today with the whole no need to call me, just text me attitude. Just thought that time was worth mentioning. Then we got introduced to the final boss per se with the cell phone era. At first, it was exclusive to the elites and to luxury cars. But by the time it trickled down to the common person, I remember minutes were limited. You didn't just talk, you budgeted. You could buy like an hour for like $30, and boy did we stretch those minutes. Like, hey, I only got 20 minutes left this month, wrap it up or I'm hanging up. But for that time, we can't talk about phones without talking about the Dodge Neon phones. That Nokia seemingly everybody had. People used to change faceplates to match their outfits, and middle of the mall kiosk was exclusively dedicated to them. And let's be honest, we weren't talking on the phone, we was playing Snake. That game had worse graphics than the video games at that time, but somehow it was just as entertaining. Which after a while, birthed the gang era phones. A never-ending chasing of the dragon, still going on today. But the major players of the early 2000s, I mean, you had the Nextel users with that, let's admit, sort of obnoxious chirp that sounded like a dispatch in a police movie. Then came what I thought was the future with the sidekick users, which was me at that time. I mean, the screen swiveled in a way I had never seen before. It also had all my AOL instant messenger friends built in where I could message them on the go, and a real live keyboard. When Fab debuted that in the music video, I was like, hold on, is that a phone? Is that a two-way? It was easy easily one of the coolest pieces of tech I had ever seen at that time. Then when my cousin Funny pulled up with the first one I had ever seen in person, that let me know I had to have one. Then came the BlackBerry users, who was basically former Nextel users that refused to get a sidekick. I mean, they did have a physical keyboard and felt sort of corporate, and their BBM was basically a secret society. If you don't got a pen, you weren't in the conversation. I never personally had a BBM, so I was literally out of the conversation, and I think I still feel a way about it to this day. Then came what I call the Wizard of Oz shift, when by about 2005, all the phones went from basic illuminated Game Boys to color screens. And meanwhile, my Sidekick first gen didn't even have a built-in camera. You had to plug one in. It was an accessory sold separately. And the quality, pictures came out like they was taken with a Nintendo Game Boy camera. Only the real gamers remember that, with the printer. And then Windows said, we can make phones too. And guess what else we got? The stylus. On paper, that was genius. In reality, you lost that stylus in 6 minutes. And everything on that little touchscreen was so tiny, you would need to use your fingernail to unsuccessfully click. So, cool story, but not quite ready for the streets. Then out of nowhere, Apple entered and took over the conversation by introducing the iPhone. And what started as a rumor became, oh, you thought iPod was impressive? Steve Jobs said, well, what if I put your music, your internet, your camera, your email, hell, your entire life in your pocket? And this was all pre-apps. Those didn't come until a year later, unless yours was jailbroken like mine. Now, I was an early adopter. Shout out to my man Kevo for putting me on. But my friends, they weren't convinced. They'd be like, nah, it ain't got BBM. BBM? This is a legit touchscreen. It has 4 gigabytes of storage, which was the base model at that time, that could store, well, some of my music library. But that's when I realized society in this case being my friends, would find any excuse not to accept technological change. They would reject the future for essentially a private secret society group chat. But eventually, Apple said, you will join the dark side and get this iPhone, or continue to deny it and message, well, whatever's left of your BBM crew. But hey, we finally come full circle. Well, sorta. Phones can do everything now. Even this idea was created, stored, and sent to my team via, you guessed it, a shared note on my iPhone. But you know what we don't do with cell phones anymore? Call people, and damn sure not answer people on them. If you call me today, I'm assuming you a bill collector, or it better be an emergency, or you got breaking news I gotta actually hear, cause texting won't quite express the excitement. Oh, how times have changed. We used to pay for ringtones. Now if you have a ringtone, or your phone is on anything but silent, and it goes off in public, you basically the equivalent to somebody getting on the train playing the music on a loudspeaker, or getting on the elevator talking to somebody on speakerphone. And if your ringtone is a song by an actual artist today, it better be an ironic one. I'm talking Alanis Morissette ironic. Or trust me, everybody just gonna assume you just old. So from once being trapped by a tangled spiral corded house phone to now ignoring calls on a supercomputer in your pocket, we didn't just evolve phones, we substituted our brains for AI, swapped talking for sending closed captions to each other, and would rather listen to strangers talk on podcasts than listen to our friends and family talk to us on the phone. And to be honest, I'm cool with it. As long as it's this channel y'all subscribe, comment, and share too. And y'all take care too. Peace.